And welcome back to another episode of Building the Board. My name is Quentin Crisco. I am joined by Steve Letizia, Luke O'Grady, Sunny Verma, and Tom Cavanaugh here tonight. Sunny Verma is not Sunny Verma tonight, though.
No.
Tonight, Sunny Verma is Ryan Poles. He is our GM. He is our brave leader, and we are his scouts. So the entire idea tonight is we're doing a mock draft. We're going to guide our GM through the picks, talk through them all with him. So, Sonny, what are you thinking as far as strategy goes with this? Do you have an idea in mind as to what kind of how you want to attack the draft?
I do. I just don't want to say it yet because I don't want you guys offering your picks with a previous bias. I think maybe it would make more sense for me to, once I make a pick, then I can explain what my thought process was going into that pick, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I like that actually. So, do we just want to talk at all about how we think the draft's going to go, or do we just want to jump in and see kind of each pick how it goes and talk through each one as it happens?
Yeah, I think the game plan will be for us to take these first 10 picks kind of slow. I think that's the most important thing for the Bears in this draft is how this pick at 10 works out. You know, there's been enough rumblings about trading up, trading down, and staying put that I think taking those first couple picks slow and seeing what happens will dictate what happens at 10. And then after that, we'll get a little bit faster and probably jump to those picks that we have and just see how the board is and talk about where we think our biggest needs are and who we
Yeah, no, that sounds good to me. And I'm just dropping in the chat here for anyone who's watching the link to our big board, so you can follow along yourself at home. If you're listening on the podcast side, it will be in the podcast description if you would like to follow along as well. But yeah, let's go ahead and get this thing started. So we have this set on slow, so we're just gonna start it and pause it and see how each pick happens. So Titans, go Cam Ward. Anything to talk about here, guys? Any
no
thoughts?
surprise there. Yeah, I think that's kind of what the consensus is now. So really, draft starts at 2. See what the Browns do.
I'm pretty sure Cam Ward's like minus like 1,500 or like something, or minus like 15,000, some crazy like Vegas odds. So everyone kind of knows where the Titans are going.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what the Browns do here. The Browns go Shador.
Wow. That would be surprising.
That's the rumors now. Didn't Schefter say that this week? Something that the Browns were leading Sanders? Oh no, it was the Browns that were leading. Where actually no, it was the opposite. The Browns were leaning. What's his name?
Travis Hunter.
Travis Hunter, right? So never mind. So yeah, a little bit of surprise, but I still think
this is good though.
This is
good
awesome
because that's not a guy that we're going to take. So that's one player
absolutely.
that passes down to us.
All right, Giants are on the clock now.
Armand Membu.
Wow.
that would be a shocker.
I'd say that the Giants need a right tackle, so like it makes sense, but like it's a shocker because you have probably the top 2 players in the draft still on the board.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, what do you do for the path here? I mean, are we able to force a pick here if we think we like?
I don't think we can. I think we gotta.
Okay, cool. Even better. Good. Don't let we just actually have let them just play.
I think there's at least a call to the Patriots right now. I think the Patriots are going to hang up on us, but I think there's a call that's being made to get Abdul Carter.
Yeah, I would say. I mean, they might take Abdul Carter, but I would say that we see it. Well, I'd say the Jag. You probably like to see how this one plays out.
I will say Sonny Poles is smiling right now for sure.
What was that?
Sonny Poles is absolutely smiling right now for sure.
So, would you like us to make a call to the Patriots to make an offer?
So, what do you guys think? Let me get your viewpoints. Obviously, the guy we're looking at, Abdul Carter, would fill a huge need. Arguably, the best player in this draft. Let's hear maybe 30 seconds from each.
I'll start. I mean, I think we just go down the list as the video is showing, just to keep it as simple as possible. But I think we need to. I mean, help lowball him if you want to, but just to see if there's a conversation to be had. You offer him 10 and 148 for all I care, but you have the conversation, right? That's my thought.
Yeah, I think you definitely in this situation, you definitely make a call. I think it's easy to say this as a fan because obviously we all want Abdul Carter because we've watched Abdul Carter and Abdul Carter is a special talent. But I think for the Bears standpoint, trading up for a guy who doesn't fit Dennis Allen's scheme is probably not what they're going to end up doing.
Yeah, I think that this exercise would just be nonsense. We're not going to do it.
Yeah.
Even like they're probably just going to stick and pick a player that they need to, right? They have 1,000 holes, and they're a young team building. They can afford to kind of take someone that's going to be part of their future there, a blue chip type. I think we just let them make their pick. Maybe we call it the Jags, but even then, like I was thinking the Raiders or the Jets would be the first one we call it.
Yeah, I love Abdul Carter. He's my top player. Well, it's him, obviously him and Travis Hunter. And like I think he is that like ace tier elite pass rusher, like he's going to be in the NFL. But at the end of the day, I just don't see the Bears trading up for, a sub 250-pound edge rusher. That's just not really Dennis Allen's MO. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I see that happening.
All right, let's see who the New England Patriots picked then.
All right. Mason Graham.
What's going on?
We're seeing the downfalls of doing this live because I don't know how realistic this is, but hey, it's looking good for the Bears at least.
That shoulder must have come back with some red flags, I guess.
Yeah.
Either that or there's a Laramie Tunsil moment. So what are we thinking here? Do we want to call the Jags, Sonny?
I think also part of this is like, what are the odds of Abdul Carter actually being on the board at 5? What 1%? Like I think I think we kind of have to operate on.
I think we need exactly. I actually think we need to inject some normalcy into this and let the Jags take someone.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter.
Yeah. Let's see who the Jags take.
Come on, Jags.
Okay.
I
respect that at least.
Yeah. So my understanding is we want to live in the world of normalcy where Abdul Carter is not available at 6, so we're not even going to entertain calling up.
Yeah, I think at this point we just kind of sim to our pick. I mean, we can still go one by one and talk it through, but I think trading up is kind of out of the question. With Graham and presumably Carter
in the last one. If for some reason they were in love with GMT, probably sell them. They could pick a 10.
Yeah, I guess this would be a pick. With the Raiders, I mean, it doesn't matter now, but like, there he goes. I think the Raiders would technically make sense. I think the Raiders have shown so much interest in Ashton Genty, and I think a lot of that could be potentially a smokescreen to get a team like the Bears to trade up. And with how badly the Raiders need a cornerback now, like it would make sense for them to trade down to 10 and get Will Johnson or Jahdae Barron. So that is a spot, and they're kind of forcing Pole's hand to trade up and get his guy in Ashton Genty.
I've heard that the Raiders actually love. The Raiders love Will Johnson. They've been looking for CB1 for a couple of years now, and he has the Michigan ties with their GM and Tom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, as we're looking at this, is there anyone on the board who we're really interested in trading up for? Because as our tier 2 was run the pick, and our tier 1 was the trade up candidates. Both our trade up candidates are gone.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, I think we're saying it.
Yeah, I think now that Abdul has been taken, we can kind of pretend that this is a real draft again. And so the names that you guys like, this is where I need to hear the whispers. Would you consider, of course, Ashton's going to be the popular name. Would you consider? Well, I mean, the Raiders were as you said, the main team that was rumored about getting him. They've passed on him now. Is that a name that you would try to jump up for, or do you like enough players? Do you think there's 4 players still available that you'd still like at 10 without giving up any extra assets?
I think we send the next 3 picks.
Yeah, I agree. In my mind, I'm willing to wait. I mean, Ashton Genty, I've always been a don't draft running backs in the first round kind of guy, but Ashton Genty is special enough where I'm okay with drafting. I think I might draw the line of trading up for a running back in the top 10.
I'm not willing to give up a pick besides 148. So
I am totally with you. I would not trade up for a running back.
And by the way, I didn't mean just Ashton Genty. I just meant if there was another prospect you guys really, really liked. I just used Ashton as the placeholder there.
So, I mean, Sonny, I think the general consensus here is this tier 3. You feel very similarly about every one of these players.
Okay.
Where it's just kind of it's just a melting pot.
Yeah.
Okay, then let's go ahead and sim this up to 10. And the Jets take Ashton
Wow.
Jeanty.
Okay.
All right, so
Holy
Brees Hall's
fuck.
available.
Will Campbell.
I was actually going to pound the table for Will Campbell. I really was.
I'm actually kind of relieved, to be honest.
Yeah, but I actually do agree. Concepts made it a little bit easier. Who's left here?
So we still got Loveland, Warren, Harmon, Tep McMillan, Omari and Hampton, Josh Simmons, basically all of our tier 3 except for Will Campbell and Armand Membo.
Yeah. So a lot of good names here.
And do we just want to go top to bottom again and make our case for who we think it should be? Sonny, is that what you'd like to hear?
How about quickly, let's everyone give their top 2, and then if there's a consensus between 2 names that keep popping up, let's discuss those 2.
IQ, you want to start?
Yeah, so I'd like to preface this with saying I don't think there's a trade down opportunity.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we can check. I don't know if I even trust PFF's. There's 6 teams trying to trade up. I don't think that's very realistic.
What could you click on that? Let's just see who is trying to trade. We can. So the Dolphins, who would the Dolphins be trading up to get? Tyler Warren potentially?
Maybe.
Then you got the Steelers.
Or Loveland, yeah.
The Steelers, I could see. I mean, if Shador was still there, but he's not there anymore. So actually, I couldn't even see them.
Jackson Dart, man.
I don't think they need to trade up for Jack. I know he's your boy, Luke, but I don't think they need to trade up for him.
I saw what's his name, man.
Jalen Milroe, maybe.
Jalen Milroe. Mike Tomlin wants the push game. Then we got the Chargers. They want
Chargers could maybe trade up for a Tyler Warren, or get Jim Harbaugh's boy, Colson Loveland.
But
I don't know.
We got the Chiefs. We got the Browns.
Not trading them.
We got the Saints. And I honestly, I just don't think any of these teams are the Dolphins are the only one you could probably talk me into if they really believe in Josh Simmons.
Yeah, but I think they. Yeah, I don't think any of them. I think the way the board fell, I don't see a trade down opportunity. I think we got to make a pick.
Yeah. So moving back to our top 2 players each, I mean, if I'm going straight best player available, I don't have to worry about injury, it's Derek Harmon. I think it's clear. There's a clear top talent in this group, and I am not a wide receiver guy, so it's not Tep McMillan. Someone else might make that case, but I can't because I didn't really watch his tape. But Derek Harmon to me is a different defensive tackle in this class who is only bested by Mason Graham, and that's even arguable in a lot of ways. Secondary to that, I'm between Omari and Hampton and Josh Simmons. I'm going to go Josh Simmons, though, because I just think you gamble on that upside.
For me, Derek Harmon stands out as well. I have him just behind Mason Graham, which I think is high. I think Q and I are higher on him than most people because we have him at 7 on our board. I know most people have him in the 20s on the consensus boards, but I agree. I think he's a top tier defensive player in this draft class. And if I had to go 2, I mean, there's 3 guys I like here. I'm going to go Colson Loveland, though. I think Colson Loveland is the top guy on our board that we put together.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to ignore that. And I think he's a better fit for the Bears than Tyler Warren is, because I think Tyler Warren's just a little bit too similar to Cole Kmet. I think he's an upgrade over Cole Kmet, but they just play kind of the same role. I think Loveland gives you a little bit more juice in the passing game and also allows you to you can use him as a wide receiver with Cole Kmet still on the field, and then he also allows you to move on Cole Kmet in a few years. So those are the 2 guys that, and if Josh Simmons, I think, and Omar and Hampton were being played as well. But if I just can only pick 2, those are my 2 guys.
I didn't watch defensive tackle. The boys like Derek Harmon. We need a defensive tackle. We need to be right up there with edge, and I don't think there's any edges that make sense here that fit the mold of what we're going to do. If we don't want to do Derek Harmon, I think if you're going to draft Colson Loveland, just draft Tep McMillan, honestly. But I don't really love drafting either of them there. But that would be my second choice. I'd take Tep McMillan. You do fun stuff with him, and I think he's just a better prospect than Colson Loveland.
Yeah, I think Colson Loveland is far and away the easy pick here, in my opinion. I think he's a top 5 player in the class, and I think he's a special talent, to be honest. I don't think I've had the platform to really talk about my love for him, but I just think he is maybe a step tier down from Brock Bowers, and as a receiver, and then he can actually block as well too, a lot better than Bowers. So like, I think we see like the Ben Johnsons and Sean Payton talk about this like joker element of their offense. Like Jahmyr Gibbs was that for the Lions last year with Ben Johnson, and then Sean Payton's had a ton of those guys, Reggie Bush, Jimmy Graham, like hybrid type players. And I think among this entire draft class, Colston Loveland is that to a T. He like really allows you to break defensive formations because he can separate as a wide receiver on the outside against press coverage and block in line. I mean, I think he's a better inline blocker than Tyler Warren. And I think he still has so much of a higher ceiling as a receiver too. So he's like far and away, I think would be my option here to take at number 10 if we're just looking at best player available. But probably for like best player available that also fits a need, I would probably say Josh Simmons, just because the tackles are so thin right now. And I still think that there's interior defensive line depth. And I know you guys like Harmon a lot, and I do too, but I still think there are some prospects that are pretty close to him, like how I tiered him out, to where I think you could take Simmons now and then attack interior defensive line later in the draft.
Kind of go along with just one more thing, because I think that's a very good point that Tom brought up, and was it Ben Johnson or Ryan Poles talked about this in whatever interview it was? You kind of have to think about what you're going to get at 39 and 41 too, and you're definitely going to get a good interior defensive lineman at one of those picks. You're not going to get a good tight end, and you're probably not going to get a good offensive tackle, most likely. So I kind of so that's just something to kind of keep in mind there.
Yeah, and Mr. Poles, I think Ben ran to the bathroom right when we were picking, so he can't give his 2 cents, but he preached body blows. Colston Loveland is the definition of body blows. I do have to say that, even though he wasn't one of my top 2 guys I would take here. I love the player. He is tough as nails, and he's going to make people hurt.
So this is
I'm sorry, I don't mean to prolong this conversation, but I just want to ask Q, what would be your reservations with taking a Colston Loveland? Because I know we talked about him earlier today, and I think you said you would take Warren over him. So I'm just curious, like, what is your downside there?
I would not take Warren over him.
Okay.
I think Warren is the safer pick.
I got you.
Colston Loveland plays with a reckless abandon for his safety, and he's already dealt with injury issues, and he has a frame that might have more injury issues. I have nightmares about Tyler Eifert when I watch him, because they're the same body type, and they have some similarities in the way they play. Tyler Warren plays very aggressively, but he also doesn't just like chuck his body full force into a 300-pound defensive lineman. There's some health stuff there that I think does go with that, and that's why I think Warren's safer. But Loveland is the better talent by far, and I adore the way the kid plays football.
Fair enough.
It's interesting because Q knows, you guys might not know. Like, I cover the Illini and the Big Ten as like outside here, so all these names that you guys are mentioning are people I am actually pretty familiar with. And my top 2 was actually similar to what Q's was. Harmon and Simmons, mainly because of the trenches. It's very lazy thinking. But Loveland, again, I it's fascinating hearing you guys talk about his ceiling being higher than Tyler's, because I just assumed Tyler, because I watched him his entire career, but I don't break down film. Well, Sunny Verma doesn't break down film. Sonny Poles, of course, does. So my thinking, and this is just my thought process right now, and Q knows this. Once the Bears started losing games, for me, it was all about the development of Caleb. What's going to make Caleb let him reach the potential of becoming the Super Bowl quarterback for the Chicago Bears. And so I'm taking a look right now. I do believe in best player available. And that was my line of thinking coming into the first pick, that no matter what, I was going to take the first pick available. Josh Simmons is the guy I wanted to take because I want to protect Caleb. I want to make sure Caleb's going to be okay. But Harmon also addresses, I think Harmon on this team next year raises the floor of the team the quickest, just because I think we need the help. And it also establishes the future. We need to get younger there. Loveland is interesting, and I'm kind of talking out the process now because, again, I wasn't really considering him before you guys talked. So let's go between Loveland and Harmon.
So I would say
if you're going Loveland and Harmon,
I've kind of been talked into Loveland at this point because I'd like to point this out. Our 39 or 41 board has a good amount of defensive line on it. Where we're talking like one in Kenneth Grant, Tyleek Williams, Darius Alexander, CJ West, Alfred Collins, Walter Nolan, a bunch of guys who you'd feel pretty content getting, and even down to like after that, like Omar Norman Lott is an animal. Like that, there's a lot of names at defensive tackle to like. At tight end, these are kind of the two different guys. Like they're on another tier than everyone else. So if that, I think that needs to be considered here. I'd still be good with Harmon, but
the question I'd have is if Loveland and Warren weren't here, would we be considering drafting a tight end? Not necessarily in the first round, but is that a position of need in your guys' opinion? Or is this Loveland just, we really like his skill set, best player available, let's just get the most talent in the locker room, even if it's a position that most of us may not think it's in our top 5 needs?
I think the only way you're getting there is if you're just trying to kind of reimagine the Lions offense and you're like, Ben Johnson needs his Sam Laporta, because I don't think Cole Kmet is a Sam Laporta type. Like, I just don't think Cole Kmet has those receiving chops. And so maybe you're like, all right, we're going to take a shot at a complementary skill set to a Cole Kmet in round 2 or 3, and like Elijah Arroyo or, Mason Taylor. That's the only way I think you're getting there. But it really comes down for me. I just think Colson Loveland is just like that level of talent to where, like, the Bears didn't need Brock Bowers last year, but hey, if they took Brock Bowers, like, you know what I mean? Like, no one's complaining if you draft Brock Bowers. And I think it's a very similar situation. Like, that's how high I am on him.
Yeah. And I think in this draft particular, we have to be, especially at 10 here, you have to be I'm very hesitant to just draft for need, because this is a draft that is not the number of blue chip prospects are few and far between. There aren't that many, and a lot of them are off the board. I would put Colson Loveland in that blue chip prospect with like Derek Harmon as well. And I don't know if the other names in this tier are necessarily the blue chips for me. So I think Colson Loveland's the best player available. And yeah, the Bears don't necessarily need a tight end, but they need offensive playmakers. And I think he is, because you can play him in line, you can play him split out wide, you can throw him or in the slot, you can throw him screens, you can do all this different things with him and be very creative with him. And we just hired an offensive minded head coach who's very creative. And I think that is what you're getting. You're not just getting a tight end. Like, you're not getting another Cole Kmet who would be, redundant. You're getting a guy who you can kind of move around throughout the offense.
And I would also argue to our lovely general manager, Sonny Poles, that he also helps your blocking unit immediately when he steps in, because to me, he's the best inline blocker of all the tight ends. I think he's better than Warren. I think he would be better than Kmet, honestly. And, I think you can just use him in a bunch of different alignments to be a blocker, to where he's adding a physical edge that you might be, Kmet's a fine blocker, but I think that, Loveland, is a well above average, especially with all he adds as a receiver as well. So I do think he helps like your run game, your trenches, is bringing a physical edge, like Hugh said, plays like a psycho, that maybe the team was lacking last year.
All right. The consensus seems to be Loveland. And as I said, my goal is what can I do to help Caleb become a future Super Bowl winning quarterback? And Loveland does fill that bill. So we'll take Colson Loveland then.
Yeah. Colson Loveland, it is at 10. Where are you at, Colson? There you go.
Stupid PFF board.
Yeah, they're going to tell us we have to get half.
Yeah, we're going to get an F.
Oh,
Yeah.
Trust the process.
Are we at all considering trading back into the first, or should I speed this thing up?
I would say the strength of this draft class is on day 2 here. I'd rather have 2 picks in 39-41 than have a late first. Okay, you're going to get a very similar player in terms of quality.
And I'll speed this thing up, turbo it up to pick 39. All right, so our best players available here. I guess we should actually kind of look at who went. That's probably a good idea. Tet McMillan went, Jihad Campbell, Will Johnson, Jalen Walker, Michael Williams, Matt Golden, Tyler Warren, Shamar Stewart.
Can we just stop with the Bengals and with Tyler Warren? I think that's I mean, I think it's awesome. They're just saying screw defense, screw blocking. We're just gonna good luck defending all these weapons. Anyway, okay, keep going.
Then Shamar Stewart, Kenneth Grant, Walter Nolan, Donovan Ezraku, Mike Green, Emeka Egbuka, Omarion Hampton went to the Vikings. I don't like that. Josh Simmons, Malachi Starks, Kelvin Banks, Tyler Booker, Luther Burden, Nick Emanware, Gray Zabel, Elick Aomanor. I'm struggling with some of these names. Josh Connerly, Derek Harmon, lasted to 34. Jack Betch, James Pierce, TJ Sanders, and Caleb Johnson have come off the board.
Andrew Makuba there?
No, Makuba didn't go. He's still available.
So we still have we still have Will Campbell is probably the top player on our board, right? Because Will Campbell.
No, he's gone.
Oh, he went. Okay, sorry, I missed that then. So Josh,
I think
Josh Simmons gone too?
Josh Simmons he's gone.
Okay.
So we're tier 4.
We are fully on to tier 4, where our best player is Jahdae Barron, who
I think he went as well.
He went as
well.
Yeah, Barron's off the board.
Starks is gone. Green is gone. Connerly. So Makuba is where we're starting. Makuba, Arianti Ursary, Trey Amos, Michael Williams.
They all went. Stuart Williams and Banks went. So Makuba, Ursary, and Amos are the 3 in that tier that are still there.
So that's our trade down, or like trade down within the first round tier. So we still have the whole pick 39 and 41 tier available as well. Or I assume most of it.
I have not watched Andrew Makuba or Trey Amos. I got to get to the DBs. That's where I'm going to start next. So I will definitely defer to our DB scouts and the guys, whoever's watched more of them. But I am a fan of Ariante Ursary. I could definitely see where he's very alluring for, to be Braxton Jones's potential replacement.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Ursary as well. I know, and we have 2 back-to-back picks here, so we could most likely get 2 of these guys. So one of the DBs and then Ursary. But and I'll let Luke talk about Makuba because I know he's a big fan. But just on Ursary, I think he makes so much sense for the Bears. You can have him compete with Braxton Jones right out the gate. And if he doesn't win that job, if Braxton Jones wins it, that's great because then you have 2 really good offensive linemen, and then you have Ursary as kind of your who can back up the interior. He can back up. He can kind of be your swing tackle, and then you don't have to re-sign Braxton Jones after this year. You just slide Ursary into that role going into 2026. So I think Ursary makes a lot of sense. We know Ben Johnson's going to want to run the ball, and he's a really good run blocker, especially when he's on the move. I mean, he's got some stiffness to his game, so I think he ultimately ends up at guard, but I would give him a chance to stick a tackle before there, and that's ultimately why he's available right now. If he was going to stick a tackle, I think he's an easy first-round prospect. So that would be my pick with one of these at least. But I know Luke's a big fan of Makuba.
Yeah, I would take Makuba here. And just hope Ursary's there, but I would understand if he did the opposite. Makuba is might be my second highest rated prospect in the class. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got him over Starks, Barron, Johnson, Warren, McMillan, pretty much everyone else. I think he's just a legitimate, elite level playmaker. He's got I think all the builds you want to be breaking on balls in the NFL in today's day and age, and his instincts are just out of this world. He could plug in and play safety, I think, for us opposite Byard or Brisker day one, and be there anytime we have downtime with Kyler Gordon as well. I think he's an elite level nickel back as well. He's sick. He's sick.
Are we a bit concerned of the size? Because I've caught a bit of him, and I think he flies around. I love the way he plays, but 186 pounds, which is 14th percentile for safeties. 5'11". I don't really care about that. It's more of the weight with him. And I don't know. I think he's 2 pounds heavier than
the Honey Badgers, so that would be the vision, especially in that defense.
Okay. So that's what, so like, I think I don't mind taking a safety here. And, I totally trust where you're at with his eval too. Like, I'm totally willing to back you, but do we play it like, hey, maybe this guy's going to be around later and we can wait on him? Or should we just go strictly off our board and take, one of our highest rated players, or we can play it the other way?
If the boys want to go Ursary here, I would be fine. I think that if you want to have a commitment to the offensive line, you actually do need to commit to it, not just make a couple of moves every once in a while. I would be fine with taking a tackle here and seeing how it plays out, but I would start banging the table from Makuba in 2 picks.
Yeah. I think Makuba is. I watched him. He's one of the. I mean, I have one of the safeties I have watched, and he is very good. I agree with Luke, and I think this is kind of where I think he probably goes from like, this is probably the start of his range to like 50, and they have like a 97 in the PFF simulator. Like, I don't think we should wait on him just because we know in this simulation we can get him later. Like, I don't think that PFF simulator has that ranking correct. But I would leave, and we have 39 and 41 here, so we could get both most likely. I would go Ursary at 39 and then Makuba or at 41, or I would also like to see who else is on the board just to cover our bases.
No.
Those are the 2 guys who kind of jump out.
Nick Scorton jumps out to me. I know he isn't as high on our board, but he makes a lot of sense given the Bears needed edge rusher, and he's, of all the edge rushers in this class, he's one of the ones that fit Dennis Allen, what Dennis Allen's usually look for the most, that I'm the most intrigued with too.
I think that makes sense.
I'd like to throw a thought out there. So are there any positions we want to make sure we get before 100?
I want to hear
how many are there?
Edge, honestly, I think edge might be a weak group.
Yeah, I think edge, running back, offensive line. Those 3 picks are kind of what I'm thinking.
So are we considering trading down one of these picks to make that happen in order to get Makuba, or are we locked into those 3 positions with the next 3 picks and that's that?
I really like trading down from 39 because you have 41. So you can trade down to 48, whatever, but you're not really trading down that far because you have to pick 2 picks from there. So if someone is willing to trade up to 39, I'm all for that. I think there's good value right now.
Because I think I'd rather trade 39 right now looking at our board than wait for 41 to make a trade.
I think if we can get some stuff for 39, that'd be good.
More picks is more fun. Let's trade it.
Yeah. All right, so we got the Colts at 45, the Buccaneers at 53, Chargers at 55, Commanders at 61, Jaguars at 70, and Steelers at 83.
I would say either the Bucs or the Colts.
Yeah, who's like the top player on the board right now that we think is falling and that a team might want to trade up for? Let's try and keep it, and let's see what like Shavon Ravel or Trey Amos. I think Amos.
Gordon.
So a team that needs a corner, I think, would be like the team that we're trying to trade down for. I don't know necessarily.
The Colts need a corner. The Colts always need a corner somehow.
Yeah, I can't name them.
They keep drafting them and they keep needing them. I don't know.
Do you think we should maybe try to trade down further to the Chargers maybe, so we can see if we can get more? Because I don't know what trading 6 picks or down 6 picks in the second round is netting you.
Yeah, that's fair. Go to the next. You
got the Buccaneers at 53 or the Chargers at 55?
They need a corner. They need an edge rusher.
One of
Buccaneers we're saying? Okay.
The Bucs,
well, I think the Chargers have more picks though, so they might be more willing to trade up.
True, that too.
Don't have a lot of picks. There you go. Yeah, look how many picks the Chargers have. That's a prime trade up team.
Okay. So with this, so we're talking 55 for 39, and then try for 86.
Yeah,
that will be accepted. Does anyone have any idea if that's actually realistic as far as the math works out?
Let me pull up the trade calculator.
Yeah,
I'll try.
All right, so it was 39 for 55 and 80. What was it?
86.
86. So that is 510 to 510 is the value. It's a perfect even trade.
All right, you should do a little more, Q. Add a late round pick because that's usually how those works. You got to pay a little bit.
Give us 181.
180. Yeah, 181. That would be.
You can give it 199.
Yeah, I think 181 makes sense.
Would it be greedy to try to get 125 and get 148?
Let's not get too greedy. Just get 181. That's a slight. That's a 20-point value to us. I think that is what you get.
Okay. Slight premium. I like it, especially this part in the draft.
I love 86 in this draft. I love 86.
Yeah.
Sonny?
Yeah, I'm good with it. If you guys like the remaining talent over there, I think it's a more fun exercise if we get to go through this whole process a couple more times.
Okay. So let's offer that trade. Oh, it's been accepted. Beautiful. Let's see who they pick.
Darius Alexander.
Nick Scourton.
Dang.
Those are two guys I wanted, to be honest. Or two guys I liked at least.
But
I like Xavier Watts too. So honestly, we may get a couple kicks at the can for trying to fill that safety spot. But after that, I think there's a bit of a drop off in the talent. If you guys wanted to go Ursa here, I'd be fine with it.
Well, so now we have what, 4 picks left, and we need to touch 3 positions. So we do have, because we touch offensive line or offensive tackle, edge, and running back. Was that it, or do we have defense tackle in there?
We also probably want to get deep, just because of how deep this class is.
I won't be happy if we don't get a defensive tackle.
Yeah. Look, one of the positions we're not going to address, just kind of the way it is. You're never going to address every position. I think the ones we need to address are running back. Like running back is need with one of these like next 3 picks, 3 or 4 picks. Like I think that's the only non-negotiable. Everything else.
So Q, can you pull up the top running backs available and let's just take a. I just want.
I was about to ask Mr. Poles. I think we're flailing a little, and we need a little direction.
Okay.
Is running back more of a need than like cornerback or safety?
I think so. I mean, maybe not safety. Safety gets tough because
you just don't know what Brisker. Yeah, you don't know what Brisker.
But you get a Brisker injury, and you're really.
So to give you guys a little thought process behind my brain, before we traded the pick, I was leading Makuba just because of what you guys kind of mentioned. Byard's getting older. Brisker, we don't necessarily know, what he's going to look like when he comes back. I just thought, Ursary, like we have Braxton, and we can move on from Braxton, but at least Braxton's younger, and so he's a younger guy.
We also have Kieran, and the fact of the matter is.
Right. I'm just explaining my thought process.
I think if you think you're going to get 16 games out of Jaquan Brisker, you're kind of crazy at this one.
So, yeah.
The guy missed like 12 games with a concussion. I don't know if any of us have ever seen that before. That guy got scrambled egg brain.
So my thinking was just like, that's one guy to replace potentially 2. Even if Brisker's fine, at least it's a long-term solution for Byard. Is what my thinking behind that is. But
there's no doubt in my mind that if you draft Makuba at this spot, like he'll find a way to be on the field by week 3.
But is Makuba? Actually, if I explain my thought process, I want to hear what you guys think of what I just said.
You guys are kind of selling me, man. I totally see the thought process of wanting to get younger at the position and just having more insurance in case whatever happens with Brisker. And it sounds like everyone really likes Makuba, and so I'm sold.
I think Makuba can play a little bit of a honey badger role.
Dude,
I think Xavier Watts can too.
I do too. I actually do think that like
conflicted on it, but
the talent level, it's clearly Makuba is better. I just think he has more explosive. Like his mirroring and quick twitch is pretty crazy. But I think that Xavier Watts does like all of the exact same stuff and is a bit of a Swiss Army knife as well. I just don't know if he's the same level of prospect. But if you guys looked at the tackle list and said after Ursary there's a huge drop off, I'd be willing to wait. If PFF is going to make someone take Xavier Watts first too, who knows? Maybe we see Makuba at 55.
Truly, because Donovan Jackson is not going to last that much longer, and neither is so. Those are the 2. There's a drop off after those 2 in my mind.
Probably go Makuba. Let's just go Makuba.
I know on our board we see it a bit differently, but I don't know. I have Ursary I have like a kind of like a fringe 2nd, 3rd-ish round grade on him. So I think there's a couple other guys I kind of like, especially if you're going to kick him inside the guard as a tackle prospect. And I think he's kind of in a tier by his own.
I think so. I'm sorry, Tom. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good. Continue.
I was just going to say, This is a question for Mr. Poles. With Ursary, both me and Steve have talked about, we think he's probably a guard who can play some tackle. I think Donovan Jackson gives you a better chance of staying at tackle and gives you a lot at guard as well. I don't think he's as exciting of a player as Ursary. I don't think he has his moments are as loud, but I don't think his poor moments are as loud either. So that, and Steve, I want to hear your thoughts there too, because we both looked at O-line a ton.
Yeah, I think Ursary has a better chance to stick. I like Donovan Jackson at guard.
Okay.
I think I kind of view them actually similarly. I think they're both guards who can play tackle. I don't see them too differently in that regard.
I think too, you got to kind of realize you're probably not going to find like a great starting left tackle after round one. Like that ship's kind of sailed, and maybe we should kind of treat it accordingly. Like, hey, we should attack other positions and not just reach because we want a long-term answer at left tackle. You're probably not going to find one in this range of the draft.
Yeah.
Yeah, and honestly,
I think offensive lineman, it's like in these next couple picks though, is so important because it doesn't have to be a 41 here. But yeah,
definitely, I agree with you. But I think there are guard options. Like if you're gonna play either one of those guys at guard, like I think there's a ton of guard options. I feel just as good about. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'd be like thrilled with 7A at like 55.
Yeah,
I think
Avenea, Wyatt Milam.
You know, any of those. Yeah.
I love Jalen Rivers.
I'm gonna pound the table for Emory Jones. Y'all know that.
Yeah. You like Emory Jones. I love Jalen Rivers. He's like one of my favorite players in this class.
Yeah. And I'm gonna pound the table for Jalen Travis. So we got guys later.
That's what I'm saying.
So basically, Mr. Poles, we have options on the O line. Are we? Are at this sounds like we're going Makuba.
Yeah, I think Makuba, for the reasons I mentioned earlier, just makes the most sense. He can be an insurance policy for Brisker now, and even if Brisker does end up playing just fine, he could be Byard's replacement moving forward. I think it's a win-win, both present and future. So we'll go with Makuba here.
All right, and Makuba it is.
They're going to give us the lowest possible grade in this,
this
simulation. But I really love this draft, so I don't care what our grade is.
Okay, so Jackson Dart, Tyleek Williams, Xavier Watts, Azariah Thomas, Braden Swinson, Donovan Jackson, Trey Amos, Landon Jackson, JT Tuimulau, Maxwell Hairston, Jaden Higgins, that one kind of hurts because that's who I was targeting. And Siobhan Ravel have come off the board.
Ursary is still available, by the way.
He is.
Do we think he'll be available in real life though?
Probably not.
No, I don't even know if he'll get out of the first round in real life because he has offensive tackle traits, and those guys don't tend to like. Who did they have the Chiefs taking over a guy with offensive tackle traits?
I think they had Chiefs take Zabel.
Yeah, no, I don't see that one.
Yeah, Zabel. I mean, I think
technically a tackle in the simulation. Which doesn't make sense.
But so let's see. We're closed out on our tier 4.
So we're saying Ursary's gone, like he's not an option here. I'm okay.
Oh wait, I'm sorry. Yeah, Ursary is still there. So yeah,
if we want to say there's no chance of that happening in real life and take him off the board, I'm okay with doing that though, because I do think it's unrealistic.
Okay, yeah, I'm cool with that too.
Okay.
I would say here, without having watched any myself, I would ask the guys that have watched the edges if there's anyone they would pay on the table for, because I would love to address this before we get into the 70s.
I got to pound the table for my guy Princely Amayu Menon.
Yes, this is what I wanted to hear.
So he definitely he's after my heart. Like that. This is the type of edge rusher that I absolutely love. Explosive, bendy. Can really, really threaten the outside edge of offensive tackles. I don't know if he's going to be a great fit for this system. That's the thing. He came into the Senior Bowl 6'4", 264 pounds. Like if he can get up to that weight and maintain that level of explosiveness, I know he's flexible. I know he can bend. Then I would be a little bit more sold. Now, is he like the best team construct run defender where he's going to like hold his gap and really do the dirty work? No, not on this tape. He never has been that player. So again, I don't know if he's the great fit, but he offers you something that this Bears pass rushing unit currently does not have. That speed to really, really attack offensive tackles where they're weak. And I think that's totally worth the pick here. Again, you really just have to rationalize, okay, how realistic is this going to be for a Dennis Allen type of defense?
I mean, I'm pounding the board for Princely too, but go ahead, Steve.
Well, I was just gonna say. I mean, I love Princely. I think he's a good player. I just don't see it at all with Dennis Allen, though. Like, a guy plays with no power. Like, and that he's not gonna stop. He does. I mean, he's not. I think he's a little bit underrated as a run defender, I'll say. But like, I don't think you're not gonna play him over a tackles. Like right over a
Let's
tackle.
go back to the mock draft simulator so we can see it.
Yeah, let's see. Are there any? Let me see. Can we see the other edges available? Just so like a good idea. Like, Ivy tested so poorly. I don't think you can take him here. Like Jordan Birch.
Jordan Birch would be
Elijah
the one
Roberts.
that I would realistically consider. But again, like, I don't even think Jordan Birch is a great run defender, even though, yeah, from a size profile, he definitely fits more of what, Dennis Allen is typically looked for. But if you're going to take a risk on a guy who I don't think is going to give you much on early downs anyway, I would still be pounding the table for Princely because, again, Princely you don't need Princely to be an every down starter. I get it. I get that, Steve. I'm totally with you. He does not fit what Dennis Allen looks for, but you don't need him to be because you just signed Dale. Like, that should be the reason to allow you to make this draft pick, in my opinion.
I mean, did the Saints ever use kind of like a situational pass rusher? And that's an honest question. I don't know.
Trey Hendrickson kind of came in the league as one.
Sorry, Q?
I thought Trey Hendrickson, when he entered the league, was more situational than anything.
That's fair.
For sure. And Trey Hendrickson has never been a great run defender. He's got stubby little arms, and I think that's always kind of held him back from being a great run defender. But I think that the Bears could still use a guy who can be situational. And that's, I wasn't even a huge fan of the Deo signing, but hopefully that signing could allow you to make a draft pick like this.
So my question real quick is, we're obviously talking about depth pieces and potential future popping and, playing an important part of this Bears team. The one position that we talked about that is a need where I think, potentially there is still a chance to get a starter at this point in the draft is, again, I'm just going to go back to running back, just because historically you can find a starting running back, later on in the draft. Is there any name that pops up when it comes to running back that you think could be a good fit for Ben's system and a guy who could be a starter and take up more of the snaps from Swift by the end of the year?
I think
we have a few differing opinions here. Quinshon Judkins is my guy for that. I think Quinshon Judkins is the most complete back on the board, not the most complete currently, but going to be eventually the most complete one. And really, I loved what he did in the playoff. It was different to me. It was something that you don't see a lot of players do, and it matched his Ole Miss tape. His Ole Miss tape was like that as well, where it was like, holy crap, this guy can move. This guy's got power. This guy's got speed. He's agile. It wasn't quite that way in the regular season at Ohio State, but once it got to the playoff, it was, which made me think they had him playing a very specific role all year. And that role was keep Travion healthy because he hasn't been healthy in 2 seasons.
And I'm a bigger Travion Henderson fan. I think he's going to be the better of the 2 running backs. And I think he fits more kind of what Ben Johnson's looking for in a running back with his third down ability. Probably the best pass blocking running back in this draft. Pass blocking running back I've ever watched, probably coming out of college.
He is.
He can work as a receiver. You can legitimately split him out wide and have him run routes. He's just a weapon, and I get the argument. I've talked about this before in multiple podcasts. Like, is he too similar to DeAndre Swift? I don't think I really care. I don't think DeAndre Swift prevents you from drafting any player. I think you want to get the best running back and the one that fits Ben Johnson, and to me, that's Travion Henderson. And that's why, if we're picking a running back here, that's who I would go with. Otherwise, I don't think there's really a whole lot separating all these guys on this list. I think RJ Harvey's nice. I think Damian Martinez is nice. I like DJ Giddens too. And Quinshon Judkins. All 5 of those guys, really. And even Dylan Sampson and Scatterbo too. So that's why I'm almost willing to wait to 72 at this point to get one of those guys, because I think you can get a starter or at least contributor at 72.
Yeah. I mean, go ahead, Tom.
Sorry, I was just about to make the argument that if Quinshon Judkins and Henderson didn't go to Ohio State and win a national championship, they would consensually, I don't think they would be viewed that much different than any of these guys. I think that's really the only reason that people see them that much better. I'm totally with Steve. I don't see that huge gap between, they all give you something different, but I don't see a huge gap value-wise to where I'm taking one of these guys. Like I don't see special in any of them. Henderson, I think, has probably the most special talent. But again, the down-to-down consistency, the vision, kind of his inability to make people miss kind of concern me as an early down runner. I think he's maybe more of a complimentary guy. So for those reasons, like I just don't see the need to force either one of those at 55 when you can wait on a guy like Damian Martinez, who I think is very, very good in his own right, and you can get him at a value later on.
Yep. There's a strong case to be made for a Damian Martinez, Jaden Blue pairing somewhere if we can make that work, or even a Jaden Blue. And this one, people might call me out on this. I love Ollie Gordon for his value where you can get
I'm going to call you out on that one, Q.
Well, go watch his tape, man. He is just crushing people, crushing them. Like, he is a 3-down running back, crushing people. And, like, if you can get that in 100, 125, like, that's great value, right? Like, that's my only thing with him. It's all value.
No, I hear you. I was just trolling you a little bit.
I know.
I haven't watched
him since about it.
I haven't watched him since the past season where I thought he was really, really good. But again, like I totally see the value in holding off on a lot of these guys because Ollie Gordon's a great example of how deep the class is.
Dane Brugler's even sitting there saying there are 12 starting running backs in this class, and we've only seen 2, maybe 3 come off the board to this point. So I think there's room to wait.
All right,
I'm
okay waiting. I will say, just trying to put myself in Ryan Pohl's situation. Last year, he tried to moneyball his way into an offensive line, and when it didn't work out, it was driving all of us crazy. Right now, the consensus is, he already got rid of Swift once. That running back is going to be an issue. I just think that at some point, if you think that there's a guy that there is some sort of separation. I don't want to hit December and then the running back situation just not working out and all of us going back to the draft and be like, why didn't we draft Judkins when we had the chance? The opportunity was there. We knew the running back situation wasn't going to work out. So I'm just telling you kind of my line of thinking moving forward. But I'm okay. If you guys think the talent level is pretty even, 10, 12 guys or whatever, I'm okay going with a different position.
I think at 72 we should make our pick for the running back, but I think there's 7 guys on the board here that I think make sense. So it just doesn't make sense to draft from here. And if we're not drafting a running back, I'm going to pound the table for Jonah Savanea. I think he makes a lot of sense. We can't keep ignoring the offensive line. I know we made those trades and got some vets and we got Drew Dahlman, but we cannot keep going with the offensive line with day 3 picks. We have to use a day 2 pick on our offensive line. Jonas said, if we're not going to get a left tackle to replace Braxton Jones, that's fine. The next biggest question mark is Jonah Jackson and his injury history. So Jonas Savanea slides right in at right guard if you need him to, if there's an injury, or he could just beat out Jonah Jackson, to be honest. And he also gives you some versatility as well. He's played right tackle, he's played left tackle. I think he makes so much sense for the Bears.
Let's book it here, man. I was gonna say like the positions that need going into the draft of the Bears are like edge, D tackle, and something at offensive line. Like someone like a prospect related offensive line, and like. It's becoming more clear that getting those good prospects at offensive line doesn't happen later.
Yeah.
Like if we're not going to have it now, it's like you're kind of like really on the edge of where you can ever find successful offensive line.
Okay. I'm cool with Jonah. I think I'm a bit lower on him than you guys, but in this range of the draft, I think I'm totally comfortable with taking him here.
Q. I'm okay with it. I mean, I have guys that I like better, but like. He brings so much versatility that like it's hard to even argue against and kind of pointless to argue against because he's a guy who can play 4 different positions and back up all those 4 spots. So,
okay, let's go with Jonah then.
All right, you guys are way too low on Jonah Savanea.
Man, there's just something about his feet that just gets me. I can't explain it. It just gets me.
Boom, Ariana to yours. Right. Played it perfect.
Kyle Williams.
I love Kyle Williams.
I know, I do too.
I think you're getting a full-on starting playmaker here in this position. He can play, I think, any position on the like any wide receiver position for you. I know it's not like I think wide receiver really is one of the most luxury positions we can draft right now, and I don't know if I think we've fallen into the trap before of thinking we had a great roster and then trying to get cute with it and not having just a good bare bones of it. So we don't want to add a wide receiver. I'd be fine with that, but I do love Kyle Williams.
Kyle Williams is really good and would be great here. The only reason I'm against it right now is because we drafted Loveland in the first. So we have,
And
I know they're different, but like we got another pass catcher already.
I do not think Kyle Williams is going to be here in this range of the draft either. I think he's going to go way higher than people think.
Yeah, he's really good.
All I know is if CJ West is there, I am stomping around my house screaming, "Draft CJ West!"
I'm
CJ West no matter what. At 72, if I can get CJ West, I'm running that card in as fast as I can.
I'm down with it. I would
say CJ West. I agree with you. CJ West is really good. I'm also just going to throw it out there. Damian Martinez. I don't know if he last day is 6, and I think he's a really good running back. And probably can you click on the running backs? I want to see who went. So we have RJ Harvey, Damian Martinez, DJ Giddens, Devin Neal. In my opinion, Martinez is a step above those 4 other guys. But that's my opinion.
I have Devin Neal pretty close to him, but I do think Damian Martinez is like a more physical presence that maybe the Bears didn't have. I think he's more of the early down pounder. So I could definitely see why you could attract to him more, but I don't think Devin Neal is that much of a step down. I know Q, you're not as high on him. I would love to hear kind of your thought process and how you view the running backs that are on the board right now.
So I love RJ Harvey. I'm not sure how he really fits with Swift because they're both kind of absent-minded at times with their choices. He's so much fun, but like I think Damian Martinez walks in the league and he is an instant producer for you.
Yeah,
like very consistent. Giddens, I don't really like because there's just too many moments where I'm like, what on earth are you trying to do here? Which is mostly as a pass catcher, but still, like it doesn't sit well with me. Some of the moments that I see from him, where it's like, why couldn't you just figure that out? Like, but Devin Neal is, to me, Devin Neal is the median in this entire running back class. Like, he is the 50% line of like, he's good. I wish he was a little better at some things, but there's nothing that he's really elite at, but he's kind of good at it all. I do have some questions with his inside running ability to run between the tackles. He played in such a spread offense where there's such wide open areas for him to play with that I don't know how he does as an early down back. I think he's a little redundant to DeAndre Swift. So like Damian Martinez is really the end of this tier for me, where I'm like, that makes all the sense in the world. After Damian Martinez here, if I want an early down back, I'm going to Ollie Gordon.
Yeah, so my thinking here is, again, I'm leaning Damian mainly because I'm kind of thinking the same way as I thought of the safety position, right? Damian could be an insurance policy in case Swift ultimately is just not a good fit. Roshan Johnson, who knows if he's going to be on the team in the next couple of years. His contract's about to end. And Q, you said the magic words, like Damian could be a starter essentially as soon as he walks in at training camp. So I'm leaning towards that, but I'm absolutely open to hearing an argument for CJ.
Let's see what other D tackles there are. I mean, I want CJ West on this football team so badly. We need a backup nose tackle, and he is.
Dude, I think there's a pretty big gap from CJ West and the next guys.
Yeah, I mean, I like Josh Farmer a lot, but like he's not going to bring you that backup nose tackle. He's going to be a 3 tech.
Is Omar? Is he? I don't even think he's available. Is he?
No.
He went the pick before us.
Oh wow, yeah, that would have sucked. That would have been a nice one. But
like,
I do agree that there's a drop off from CJ West to these next guys. But I like Farmer and Phillips and Caldwell more than I like those other running backs.
Really, I like CJ West a lot better than Phillips.
I do too. I do too. I have West over Phillips and Farmer for sure. But I'm saying I like Phillips and Farmer better than the backup running backs.
The other running back. Okay.
I got you. I had like a 2 tiers CJ West above those guys, to be honest, because I just think that there's more pass rush upside. Like, I don't know. I didn't really love Caldwell. I definitely see some upside with Phillips, but I just thought CJ West you saw the athleticism show up more so than the other guys, in my opinion.
Mr. Sunny Poles. as a Big Ten fan and advocate, I must ask you, in 2023, how was Indiana's defense?
Well, so let me ask you, just because you're putting your fist down on this, like, is this the type where you're like, if I'm wrong, my job is on the line? Like, are you that sure on CJ? Because you are my, what's his name? Ian Stewart or the
Ian Cunningham.
Ian Cunningham. You are my Ian Cunningham here. Let's just say, are you that adamant on it? Just because, because I'm leaning the running back right now, but the consensus between you guys seems to be going with CJ, and because of that, I'm ultimately willing to trust you, but I just want to know, do you believe in him that much? Because if in December, Swift obviously is a disaster, Roschon Johnson's just not a starter, and there's a glaring hole in a Ben Johnson offense at the running back spot, I'm going to be side-eyeing you.
I believe in CJ West that much. I asked you about the Indiana defense in 2023 because they were awful. Yeah. CJ West gets there. They were third in the country in PFF grade this year.
Indiana got a lot of transfers from.
They did, but man,
CJ West was not the only one. And I love James. I love CJ West.
Watch that. He's the motor. He's the motor of it all.
That is true. That is true. They had a lot of transfers, linebackers, ends, defensive tackles.
Don't you tear down my narrative, Steve.
I love CJ West. I'm worried about our offense with DeAndre Swift as the full-time running back, and I think if we don't get Damian Martinez, that's what the realization we're coming to, is that we're gonna run DeAndre Swift back again for another year, and we already know that's not gonna work.
Okay, let's do it real quick.
I think that you can expect to get some positive regression from DeAndre Swift because it's going to be a way more functional offense and someone that hopefully will play to his strengths, which admittedly he does have a little bit. But while we were going over this, I was envisioning in my head how many times I've just seen him get pulled down for free, not breaking tackles, and thought, God, I really don't want to see that again.
I need to explain my arguing point. I have a billboard on my Twitter profile. Like I don't have a choice here.
Oh, okay, fair.
Yeah, you know what? Sold me.
Okay, so let me ask. I know what Q says. Damian or CJ? Just let's do a roll.
Damian. Go CJ.
I'm gonna say Damian, but I know I'm gonna get outvoted, but that's okay.
I'm gonna go CJ. Let's ride.
Let's do it.
CJ it is.
Okay, CJ it is.
I'm a believer in Devin Neal, Q. I like him more than I. Oh, look,
Damian Martinez. Well, that's
still there.
I think adding him if he is who you guys think he is. Admittedly, I haven't seen him, but I think if he is that level of player, like a good value at that 70 pick player, then it turns the defensive tackle group from something that adding Grady Jarrett and him to that defensive tackle group with Kervon Dexter and Andrew Billings makes that group pretty sweet, man.
So, is this Damian Martinez at this point?
Yeah.
So I would
Do you think he's going to be there?
I think there's
possible.
a chance.
It's a running back. It's a running back in the third round.
Yeah, it's an early down running back.
In this
third
class,
round with limited breakaway
in this
speed.
class, I think it's. And I would not be surprised with any running backs.
Yeah,
I think that makes sense.
Okay.
For me, that's an easy pick. We were debating for both of them, and we got both of them. So this draft class is actually
just wasted 10 minutes.
And I keep my job.
Okay.
All right. So now we are way
Williams
out here.
That's realistic.
This is crazy. Like, what are they doing? Why do they have this?
It's Kyle Williams.
So on Quinn Ewers?
No.
Can we look at our draft class? I don't even remember who we've picked. Can we just do the click on the year picks just so I can get okay. Tight end, safety, tackle,
Okay.
So we really needed. I mean, we kind of missed out on edge, but that's okay. We knew we weren't going to get one position that turned out to be the position. That
the way I was kind of like when I was arguing for CJ West, the way I saw it was you just need to add one defensive lineman because I think Dexter can play some 5-tech for you, and you have 2 starters already plus Austin Booker in there. Like
it was fun when you got the cam.
Yeah, that's fair.
That was kind of my thought process.
Like, we're just gonna not take Kyle Williams because it's ridiculous that he's here because he's the best player there. He's not even close. He's the best player there.
Yeah,
easily. But yeah, there's no chance.
I just can't believe that he would be at 148.
I really like Jalen Lane here because again, I know receiver isn't like a pressing need for the Bears, but like they do need more speed in their receiving room. And I haven't watched Jalen Lane. I know Steve and I think Luke might have too watched him more in depthly, but I really, really liked the flashes I saw from him as like a down the field threat. And I know he's got some gadget versatility as well. I think he's definitely a good late round swing to just add some guys who could stretch the field.
This is assuming that Kyle Williams isn't there, right?
Yes. This is assuming Kyle Williams is not there. Luke, Kyle Williams is a top 20 player for me. So I would love to draft him.
Really?
Yeah.
Luke had him that high too. So that's two people who had him that high. Okay, interesting.
Maybe I gotta go back and watch it because I thought I was high on him, but apparently I'm not.
There's only 8 players of higher grade for me. I mean, I only have 30 players.
So is there a chance? Is this one of those he may not be here type of things? Like
he's not going to be here.
No way. No, I don't think so at all. He'll be gone in the first 60 picks.
I like Jalen Lane. Jalen Lane's kind of like Kyle Williams light. You know, like if you can't get Kyle Williams, you can get Jalen Lane on day 3. Like there's some. I mean, both like smaller, shiftier guys. Virginia Tech's offense was a mess. Their quarterback was terrible. Like, so don't look at Jalen Lane's stats. Like the guy can play football, and he also has special teams value, which is when you get into pick 148, you got to start thinking about.
Can he return punts?
Well, he can't return punts. I think he had like 2 or 3 return punts either in his career or maybe even last year.
Now, wide receiver guys, have you watched Isaac Tesla?
I have not.
Because I keep hearing about him and that he's like a freak, but I don't know anything about him.
I watched one game and I wasn't that impressed. And it was the game that he had like all of his yards. So I didn't watch anything after that.
Just to read some athletic testing for Jalen Lane, 40-yard dash, a 4.34, 94th percentile, vertical jump of 40 inches, 91st percentile, a broad jump of 132 inches, 94th percentile, a 6.75 3-cone, 83rd percentile, a 4.12 20-yard shuttle, 75th percentile.
That's all?
And he's 5'10", 191, so he's not bad.
He's not too small. Yeah.
That's so good. 5'10", 190.
I mean, I want a receiver, so like I'm absolutely open to taking Lane if there's a consensus amongst the 5 of us.
I'm all for that. I think.
I mean, the question is, are we just talking receivers because we were talking Kyle Williams, or is there a better position for us to look at here?
Maybe we can look at. I mean, we look at other positions. I just know that the Bears are still missing that field stretching element to their receiving room.
Yeah,
like that's who they were doing work on, and the guys in free agency, like the guys they were bringing around. Like I know they brought in Devin Duvernay, but I don't think he solves that for you.
No, and Zacchaeus isn't that guy either. But
exactly.
If you have Zacchaeus and you have Duvernay, is any wide receiver you draft here even seeing the field much? You know.
Oh yeah, not Quincy Rice.
So like, I don't think we should really be thinking about position right now. I think it should just
best
take
player of it. Yeah,
players. And I agree, Jalen Lane. Like, there's a possibility he's not here, but there's also a possibility he is. So like, I'm high on Jalen Lane if that's the direction we want to go.
Yeah, I think once you're into day 3, you're not talking position anymore. You're just talking like who is the difference makers out here.
Yeah, and like I said, he can return punts too. I can look it up, but I'm pretty sure he returned a couple punts for touchdowns.
I believe he did as well.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, I'm okay with Jalen then because, I mean, I know we talked about not needing positions necessarily, but the fact that he does fill out a position of need, I think just works out.
Okay.
He actually led at the NCAA in punt return yardage this year. So, yes, he can return punts.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
I think he can do it.
All right. So, at this point, there's a player I would like to bring up. I'm assuming he's still here because there's some mystery with him. Malachi Moore. I am betting on Malachi Moore on day 3 over and over and over because he played for Nick Saban for 4 years in the secondary before Saban left. Like, he has been a starter since he was a freshman. There's some mystery surgery that he had that I know nothing about because there's no information out there, but his tape is like a day 2 player in my mind. So, I mean, once you're talking this late, I will take that risk. And that's where I'm sitting. We're saying we need 2 safeties next year, potentially. I'm taking a shot at Malachi Moore.
I don't think that we have any long-term answers to safety on the roster.
I'm sold. Yeah. I'm sold.
Mr. Poles?
Yeah. I was giving, all of you guys a platform. Yeah. I mean, that makes sense to me. Shores up.
You can't really miss. I picked 181, and I think if you think the levels there, I think from a need point of view, we really don't have any long-term answers. This would give us two really nice looks at filling that position in the at least for the remainder of Kill's rookie contract.
Yeah, and if he's there, his injury's probably screwed, but I'll still take that chance on him because it's pick 183.
All right.
And we're in the dog days now.
Yeah, we are in the big dog days.
We took a wide receiver. Go to tight ends.
We took a tight end.
Took a tight end on rail. Go to cornerbacks.
Yeah, cornerback. I mean, Ed.
I know Q and Steve have been grinding out those late round OL. The offense.
I like offensive interior O line this late. I think is a great choice.
Can we look at it? Yeah, I like Asapol, Bryce Cable do. I like. What about interior?
I've heard good things about Joshua Gray. I haven't gotten to it yet though.
You'll actually like Joshua Gray. He plays mean.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I love Drew Kendall. He's a psychopath. His dad played in the NFL. I think that's always a huge plus at center, especially.
I'm still pissed that they don't have Eli Cox even in their draft simulator, which is ridiculous.
That's crazy.
Yeah, he had like a 9.9 RAS score.
That's crazy.
Turn on the tape, Trevor. What are you doing?
Q, can you just humor me? Just humor me and look at the kickers.
It wouldn't be Ryan Poles if he didn't draft a special.
Yeah, that would be crazy.
Okay.
I know nothing about any of these names.
I don't know.
Well, we're all on the big ranking.
Yeah, no, we don't have to go this direction necessarily, of course. But Fitzgerald was the name I was looking out for, just because. Not that we're comparing Torrey Taylor, but Fitzgerald's a guy who can kick it from 55 and beyond. And if this offense is going to be as high powered as we hope for it to be with Ben Johnson, I think we're going to be in that position more often than not. And there's a part of me that just likes the idea of knowing that more often than not, I can escape with at least 3 points almost in every single drive. And the fact that this is, we're at what round now? Round 7?
Yeah.
That's just my thought process. Again, I'm back. At least you guys know where I'm thinking. We can go back to the players that you guys like, though.
One thing I would just as your scout, I would push back on you a little bit on is this is a year where you got to win. Do you really want to trust a rookie kicker with that?
I'd also say that Ben Johnson high-powered offense was doing it with a kicker that was working, that was bagging groceries 6 months ago.
Yeah, I'm team never draft.
I'm not against. I like the general idea. I'm just like, I think you got to stick with the vet this year, and then next year maybe you take the chance.
I think you take 5 outside swings at positions of value. So go get.
I know,
but you're the GM.
I know. Let's hear some other names then.
Let's look at edge because we haven't drafted an edge rusher.
I know late round edges usually are not a great play, but I think we haven't drafted one. So you take someone with maybe some traits. I like Johnny Walker, but I haven't watched any of these other guys. Johnny Walker's the only one I've watched. I don't know if he has the elite upside that you're really going for. Yeah. So I don't like.
I tend to think this late defensive back, interior, O line, and linebacker are kind of the ways to go because those are the guys who are really hard to scout, the nitty gritty of, and tend to fall.
What if we looked at another running back? Because Damian Martinez, I like Damian Martinez, but he's not really much of a pass catcher. If we can get a Woody Marks, you get kind of a pass catcher third down running back. Might be something you could do.
I mean, they're probably going to roster 4 guys.
Yeah, so that I think he's really the only on this list, the only third down guy, or at least the only one I know. So
Raheem Sanders is some fun, but he's slow. He can catch.
He's kind of like Damian Martinez light, essentially. Yeah. So I wouldn't I don't like that fit. But Woody Marks, Joe Clavis Marks might be an option.
Yeah,
if that's something we wanted.
And I mean, I do like the idea of Drew Kendall here. To be clear, I think Drew Kendall's a maniac with NFL bloodlines, and that's someone I'll bet on at center.
Yeah, I like that pick too.
I'm good with it.
What about the commitment we just made at center? Does that hinder you at all from taking Drew?
No, I think it gives you flexibility. You've got a backup, and you have somebody you can kind of groom behind him because Dahlman really essentially only signed a 2-year contract. It's a 3-year contract, but you get out after 2 years. So
it is a good point though, because you're probably practice squatting him.
Yeah, but it's a 7-round pick. You're practice squatting this pick regardless, essentially.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, let's. If you guys like Kendall, at least his tape, and you think he can be a potential heir in year 3, I'm good with going with Drew.
That's right.
Drew Kendall, it is. He's a maniac. Set his film to heavy metal, and you'll have a good time.
I know we already drafted a wide receiver. I just want to say that Kanata Mumfield, actually, I like him. If you haven't, I'm not saying we should draft him. I'm just saying if you haven't watched him, he's someone who might have a little bit of something.
Someone made a video on LeJontay Webster.
I like LeJontay Webster. He's super small though, and I think with Jalen Lane, it's kind of like we don't need with both of them. But I do like him too.
I kind of like the idea of Woody Marks or linebacker.
Yeah.
Let's see what's at linebacker because Dennis Allen wants one of his little safety linebackers. Like a Smile Mondone feels like he fits Dennis Allen.
Yeah, it does. Coverage guy.
Kane Medrano.
Didn't they meet with Kane Medrano at the
did. They met with Nick Martin too at the combine.
I know Mike Renner is really high on Nick Martin.
He's a maniac.
Sean Dolak. That guy can play. Sean Dolak has led the college football in tackles the last 3 years, I think, and he actually can cover. And he has like a 9.9 RAS score. Like the guy is talented.
I'm sold.
Let me pull it up. This is like one of the few linebackers I've watched. So okay.
I mean, this description.
So I was a little 8.83 is still pretty good.
This description reads like Travis Bell all day.
Yeah.
However, his admirable journey and determination to reach this point and make him a late round pick. That's Travis Bell.
Hell yeah.
Mr. Poles, we got your guy.
Yeah, that's my guy. But I'm okay with anything. I really don't care about the 240th pick.
Yeah.
I watched some Nick Martin. I think Nick Martin was wild. He's just a chicken with his head cut off, but that's kind of what, Dennis Allen goes for linebacker sometimes. So I think Steve, I know you mentioned Kane Medrano the other day. Mm-hmm. I would go with the other guys over Smile Mondone. I didn't really get what Smile Mondone did well when I watched his tape. So I kind of am avoiding that.
Yeah, I'm done with Sean Dolak. I'm
he's good, man. I'm serious. His tape is legitimately pretty good.
I'm intrigued.
And then he posted an 8.8 RAS score. The whole knock on him was he's just unathletic, but he's not, so.
That was in the description there. Say he lacked twitch, but it's 9 RAS. You don't like twitch.
When I have this much enthusiasm from one of my scouts for pick round 7, pick 24, I'm going to trust him. So yeah, I'm good with going with Sean.
Sean Dolak, welcome to the NFL.
Talk about a Chicago Bears fans fan favorite, training camp guy. Sean Dolak's people gonna be buying his jersey.
Dude, geez, this is the lowest.
I honestly love this class.
Yeah. No, I do too. I'm fired up about it.
We got 2 Fs on our first
3.
Oh my god, I didn't even like it.
That's
killed round 3 though. Round 3.
Yeah. Crushed round 3. All right. Well, I like this class. I think this is a very well-rounded group that they added with a lot of talent.
The first 2 picks is amazing.
Yeah.
I know people are gonna shred it. I posted the Colston Loveland pick and I got shredded for it. They were like, "This is the worst mock draft I've ever seen. I'm throwing up right now." All the comments, but. I would really challenge someone to go watch him. And I'm telling you, the people that support Cole Kmet and think that, this would be pointless because of, they think Cole Kmet's a good starting tight end. You can play both of these guys at the same time. That's why I really, really like him. You can do so many different things with Loveland. And I just think that's so valuable at pick 10. He's a rare prospect in my opinion.
The way that he would open up the split zone run concepts would be really fun.
I mean,
as a lead blocker too, there would be a lot of stuff that you can do in the run game with Colston Loveland that you can't do with Cole Kmet as well.
100%. And I think honestly, he might be he comes on the Bears and might be the best underneath separator on the team, from day one. Maybe Rome, that could be Rome, but the stuff he's able to do on choice routes and option routes, at that size is pretty ridiculous. And I just think that there's so much that Ben Johnson could get creative with adding a player like him.
All right. Well,
again, I didn't coming into this, I did not think that Colston would be a guy I'd draft with that number 10. That's strictly one of the those that I got convinced on. So let's hope you guys are right. Otherwise, we're all fired.
Well, Mr. Poles, the draft is over. It's time to talk extensions. Let's talk money. But I think we are wrapped up on this. I appreciate you guys all jumping on, especially our special guest, Sunny Verma, here for putting his Ryan Poles hat on. And yeah, this is our first mock draft. This will be out in an article, hopefully tomorrow. I'm hoping I can get it out tomorrow. But and thank you guys for listening, watching along with us, and thank you guys for sitting through and doing the draft with me. But I hope everyone has a good rest of their evening, and bear down.
Bear down.